Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. We have a very special guest on the show. Welcome to the show, Aynsley Broom.
Hi, it's so nice to be here.
So, Aynsley is a content creator who makes a lot of videos about Bridgerton. And right now, we are at the cusp of season three. And so, we are going to do a little bit of a recap right now about
hmm
what has happened in seasons one and two of Bridgerton. So, there will be spoilers, but yeah,
Get ready, y'all.
get ready. So season one was the season with Simon and Daphne. How
Yeah.
so how would you describe like their love story?
So their love story, in a way, like if we're going by tropes, it is like fake dating in a way. And so like they had to like pretend that they're together even though they're not. And it's a lot of passion. I believe the way Nicola has described it, oh gosh, dang it. It's like she describes it in three different parts, like for season one and season two and season three. And I think season one she described as I think it was, like, romantic or s I think maybe season 3 is romantic. I can't really remember, but I just remember, like, her breaking it down in 3 different sections, and, like, I know for trope-wise, Simon and Daphne is definitely fake dating, and so it's a lot of fun to watch because they have their own secret, then there's the secret of Lady Whistledown, and so there's a lot happening within the time to get things going.
So for those of you who don't know who Lady Whistledown is, she is this mysterious author who publishes like a pamphlet that
Scandal sheets,
comments
yeah.
that comments on the happenings in high society, also known as the Ton.
Mhm.
And in season one, there is a mystery that isn't revealed until the end of that season of who Lady Whistledown is.
Yeah. And we get a lot of, like, clues throughout the season, which is some of my favorite things. We recently did a rewatch, around Christmas. The Bridgerton account, Instagram account, hosted a rewatch, and it was so much fun to see how the person that's, Lady Whistledown is just, like, planted in every little spot. So if you rewatch season 1 or if you haven't seen it, just keep an eye out and you'll notice some little hints and clues of who Lady Whistledown is based on this person.
One example that I want to bring up is
Mhm,
Eloise Bridgerton. So, this is Daphne's younger sister, gets
mhm.
on the case of finding out who Lady Whistledown is. And she goes to Madame Delacroix, the
Yes.
tailor. And as Madame Delacroix is like, seriously, it's not me. There is actually a dress in Penelope's
Yes.
colors on display to
Yes, this is
tell
one of my
you
favorites.
that yes, at the end of the season, it is revealed that Lady Whistledown is in fact Penelope,
Mhm.
Eloise's best friend. And in season two, now that you know who this is, she's got the inside scoop on what is happening with Kate and Anthony, who
Oh,
and
yeah.
Serena in season two. So
Yes.
So what happens in season two? Because this one had a bit of a love triangle.
Ooh, season 2, things were really heating up because what season 2 was enemies to lovers, and I would say honestly, growing up, enemies to lovers was my favorite trope. Got that Pride and Prejudice vibes of Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Darcy going down. And so something that's really different from the books was the love triangle. In the books, actually, when you look at Kate and Anthony's story, Edwina doesn't really play as much of a role as she does in the series, in the TV series. So it was really interesting back in 2022. Yes, yeah, 2022 to watch that, because what I had done, I had read I read The Duke and I and The Viscount Who Loved Me right before season 2 dropped, and so it was really fresh on my mind, their story, and so to watch it and be like, "Wait, that didn't happen in the book," or, "Wait, what happened to that scene, and what happened to this scene?" And so it's very interesting how the series changed it up to get that love triangle going literally till episode 6. Like, I was so surprised that they kept the love triangle for that long, and they really gave us a enemies to lovers, but also slow burn, because we didn't get as much schmexy scenes in season 2 as we did in season 1.
Yeah, and I wanna say, as someone who's read the books, did
Mhm.
it surprise you how they started to diverge from the books in season 2?
Yeah, I was like, it was a good like it was good the way they diverged it storyline wise, because like obviously the books are completely different in terms of like casting. And I love how Shondaland does conscious casting. So I'm a huge fan of that. The diversity of the series is amazing. But in terms of diverging from the storyline of the books, I was very like, hold up, what happened here? Because there is one scene in the book that many people point to in terms of like the difference. So like when Kate does get stung by a bee, in the book, she gets stung like in her area, like in a very intimate area. And Anthony literally goes and tries to suck it out of her, like of her, it's her, and he's like trying
Out
to
of her
suck the venom
chest?
out. Yeah, her chest. There you go. I was like, I don't know. And in the series, that doesn't happen. It's more of like a, hey, I'm okay, like hand placement, where even where they were placing their hands was very intimate for that time. And I don't think she's wearing gloves either, which is a huge no-no. And so for that scene to somewhat be changed to be more progressive and more like, oh, we're not doing like the what the book does, but in a way it's more intimate and it's more of today's era, you know? And so I did appreciate that difference. So there was like some changes that I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I do like the change. But then there were some that I was like, oh, I kind of wish that was in there. Or I kind of wish that they had done this instead of that. But I when you translate something from book to film, you kind of expect there to be changes because on screen is different from the page. So I understood some of the changes, but some of the changes I was like, I kind of like that one.
Yeah, it's really cool what they did with the book and turning it into the movie. And I just want to quickly go into Lady Whistledown. So we
Mhm.
now know in season 2 that it is Penelope, and
Yeah.
Eloise is still on the case.
Mhm.
So at the end of season 2, we have a very
Oh.
interesting episode with Colin, who is Penelope's crush. Um,
Mhm.
so there is that scene. And then there's another scene as well with Eloise.
Yeah.
So how does Eloise find out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown?
So something I've always found interesting when rewatching Bridgerton is noticing how Eloise always talks and always expects Penelope to listen, but Eloise never really truly listens to Penelope. And when you watch season 2, you kind of see this really come to light. You see how Penelope will like in the beginning of season 2, Penelope says, um, what is she, a parched plant? And then she goes, a plant pun, if you will. And then after that ball in the next Lady Whistledown, you see Lady Whistledown literally use a plant pun to where one of Penelope's sister's suitors goes, it's so funny how Lady Whistledown uses plant puns. And Penelope literally goes, clever indeed. And you're like, does anybody really listen to Penelope in the ton? And so when the final ball comes at the Featherington household, Eloise, who has been revealed to have been out with, political radicals in the Lady Whistledown before the Featherington ball, she's kind of down on her luck and is just very, like, kind of humbled. And so now she's like actually listening to Penelope. So when Penelope kind of enters into her Lady Whistledown mode in terms of speaking of the time, Eloise is actually listening to Penelope to what she's saying. And she goes, you can see her face be like, oh, wait, I've never really heard you before until now. And you're talking exactly like Lady Whistledown. And since they're at the Featherington household, she goes to Penelope's bedroom and like starts pulling things apart, and where she discovers that Penelope is actually Lady Whistledown. And it is only because she finally listened to her best friend, because her friend didn't really change how she spoke. She just wasn't listening to her. So I was like, oh my gosh.
And I do want to mention that with Penelope as well, one thing that the reason why this turns into a big fight between Eloise and
Hmm.
Penelope is that Penelope was put in a situation where to protect Eloise, she had to
Yeah.
reveal her affiliations to
Yeah.
the public.
Yeah, because the queen was literally gonna come after Eloise. The queen thought Eloise was Lady Whistledown because she's like, "You're never in Lady Whistledown." And that's because Penelope loves her friend so much. Eloise really hasn't ever been in Lady Whistledown until that one reveal in order to protect Eloise. And in a way, like, I think, some people think, "Oh, well, she ruined Eloise." And in a way, she didn't, because she said that Eloise was unchaperoned with political radicals. But she said with that's like in a group of people, so she's still in a group setting, but she never revealed that Eloise was alone, unchaperoned with a guy. Like she never revealed that. So to me, it's like, yeah, Penelope did kind of betray her friend, but she didn't do it to the extent that really ruined Eloise. It just really discredited her to being Lady Whistledown.
Yeah, she was very delicate with how she handled
Yeah.
the situation.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on SYN.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. I'm here with Aynsley Broom, and we are going to be talking all about Bridgerton season 3 and our predictions for this season. Now, I want to mention that this will contain spoilers for seasons 1 and 2, and also some promotional material for season 3. But unfortunately, at the time of recording, the season 3 trailer is not available to us. So we do have that little teaser clip that we can talk about, but not the actual trailer. All right.
Literally tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited.
Like it's literally less than a few hours.
So, so I wanted to mention with season 2, it ended with
Mhm.
a very important scene for Colin and Penelope.
Yeah.
So, what happened in the scene?
Oh, well, Colin opened up his big mouth and put his foot right into it. He is talking with a group of friends, and they asked Lord Fife asked him, "You courting the girl, Penelope?" And he goes, "Not in your wildest dreams, Fife." And Penelope overhears him. And obviously the girl in question is Penelope Featherington. And because they saw Colin dancing with Penelope at the Featherington ball, in which the previous scene, he was defending her and her family, and then turns around and goes to his friends and is like, "I would never court her, never at all." And all of us obviously are just like, "What is wrong with you?" But this is a scene that also happens in the book, just slightly different.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how Colin he considers Penelope one of his friends, and that's why he makes
Hmm.
that comment. But I don't think he realizes until the very important teaser scene just what his words have done to Penelope.
Yeah. The way that teaser scene, so for the past 2 years or so, since Bridgerton season 2 ended and we've been anticipating Bridgerton season 3, we have always just wanted to see Penelope Featherington call Colin Bridgerton Mr. Bridgerton, because throughout the entire series, she's always been Colin, Colin, and she's been Pen to him. And now the tables have turned because she's being more formal. They've always been informal with each other, much like when in season 1, Simon, who is the Duke of Hastings, told Daphne to call him Simon. And she was like, "You can call me Daphne." But Colin and Penelope have never really had to have that, formal, like, "You can call me this." They've just done it because 'cause they've always been friends. And so for her in that teaser scene to be like, "Good night, Mr. Bridgerton," it has been like a win for us in a way because we know it's gonna happen. But for her to be finally not so doe-eyed and like hard eyes every time she sees him and to be like, "Good night, Mr. Bridgerton." It's just like ice. It's just so like so good. It's just like in your heart of hearts, you're like, "Yeah, Mr. Bridgerton."
And you can see it on, again, Luke Newton
Oh, his face.
As Colin does such a great job because the moment she says, "Mr. Bridgerton," it is like, again, he's just got that expression of like someone who's had a bucket of ice cold water thrown on
Yes.
them. Like
Oh,
that was his wake up call, and he realizes immediately that something is wrong.
especially when like especially with the fact when he goes, "Penelope, is something wrong? Like, I wrote you," and he goes and then he was like, do I have to say it?" And we're like, "Say what?" And he goes, "I missed you." And I wanted to be like, "Missed her? You missed her? Like, don't even." Like, so many people were just like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, so it again, that was again, we were waiting for him to say something like, "I
Mhm.
miss you," to acknowledge his feelings, that he does have some feelings for Penelope, but again, I love that she pointed out to him that missing her was just not enough
It's not
because
enough.
yeah, because by saying that he would not court Penelope has kind of instilled in everyone else that she should not be courted.
Right. Ugh. It was just like that whole teaser scene. I don't know, it was just the satisfaction. Just, like, so much satisfaction where she, like, walked away and this honestly is not the first time that Penelope has walked away from him. In season 1 at the end, she was like, "Oh, I'm really tired, I think I'm gonna go sit down." Because he asks her to dance with him and she goes, "No." And he's, like, shocked in that scene, but she still was, like, doe-eyed, she still had those heart eyes, and he was still calling to her in season 1, She was still a little heartbroken when she walked away. But with this scene and her walking away, she's like, "Not again, Mr. Bridgerton. You have hurt me no more." And it's just like, "This is your turn to come and find me. I'm no longer finding you."
Yeah, exactly. And I want to mention as well, this is like Penelope's, I guess, glow up era. So
Yes.
before this, her style was very much, she was like trained by her mother, who
Mhm.
unfortunately does not have the best fashion sense.
Right.
And and yeah, unfortunately for um again, Mrs. Featherington does the best that she can to help her daughters find suitors, but yeah,
It just missed
it
the
looks
mark.
like she gets a little bit of outside help to change her wardrobe and make her, to
Yeah.
save her from being a spinster. So who do you think is on her team?
Oh, so there's so many avenues that I would could see this going. I really do think Madame Delacroix is like fairy godmother, of course, just because and I don't wanna say fairy godmother because I also know there's been a few fans who are waiting and anticipating that Cinderella story, but I do think Madame Delacroix is like that mentor in a way, but I also feel as if Lady Danbury is also that mentor. So in some aspects, I wanna say the first person to help her with her, like, glow up is, I would say there's, like, multiple glow ups, right? So you have the fashion glow up, and I really do feel as if that's gonna come from Madame Delacroix. But then you have, like, the self-confidence and, like, the empowering, glow up and that inner glow up that comes with, not Madame, Lady Danbury, right? And then you have the courting glow up, and that's gonna, I think would come from like Colin, because Colin is supposed to be giving her these courting lessons.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, there's like three. which again, the threes, like there's gonna be so many threes happening, I feel like, in this season. So you have the three glow ups, the three people that are gonna be mentoring her in a way. And I feel like there's a fashion glow up that comes from Madame Delacroix, then the inner glow up, which is Lady Danbury, and then in a way the love glow up in a sense, which is Colin.
Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting to see.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
do wanna ask, why would Lady Danbury get involved with Penelope?
So Lady Danbury in the books kind of sees a little of her. I feel like she sees a little of herself in Penelope and had like a kindred spirit. And so I think even more so, like with the actress as well. So Adjoa Ando, in some interviews leading up to season 3, has talked about how she herself was a wallflower. And so I feel as if Lady Danbury um, sees Penelope, sees the potential, sees how she is different from her family, and is like, there is a gem there. Let's polish it a little bit, give it some shine, put it in the light, and see it glow, you know? And I love the relationship that Lady Danbury and Penelope Featherington have in Romancing Mr. Bridgerton because it is so special and it is something that I feel like in today's society, when you find, especially within like women, like a group of women, when you have like the older generation mentoring the younger generation, there's just something beautiful that happens there. And so that's what I love a lot about Lady Danbury. And like specifically in the book, she sees it happen when it's the Smythe Smith musicale and how like Penelope Featherington never puts the girls down, even though they are not the best musicians, but she is always there supporting the girls because she knows how mean the ton can be as someone who is a wallflower and is always judged for just being a person, you know, like Cressida Cowper is always rude to Penelope for just being herself. And so Penelope, knowing what that's like, doesn't want other girls or women to feel that way. And so Lady Danbury seeing that is like, oh, this is somebody that I want to know and help and empower.
Yeah, and it's really good that she's gonna have a new ally on her team.
Oh, yes.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on Sin.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. We will be talking about Bridgerton season 3. So, this discussion will have spoilers for seasons 1 and 2 of the Netflix show. And there is no season 3 trailer at the time of recording, so there will be no discussion about that. And there might also be some references to the books. But we are joined on the show once again by Aynsley Broom.
Hi.
So, in the little break, we were talking about Cressida Cowper as a character who has, I guess, some sway in the storyline. She's been there as a supporting character since season 1, where she saw Simon and Daphne sneak off to the
Hmm.
garden and kiss. And if that got out, it would have ruined Daphne's reputation.
Mm,
So she is owed a favor by Daphne, who is not going to be in season 3.
right.
But I think that she might take this opportunity now. We know she plays a bit of a part in the story of Colin and
Mhm.
Penelope. So I was speculating that she might try to cash in on her favor now.
It is very likely that she will cash in on that favor, especially since in Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, she blackmails Penelope. And so not only will she have the Daphne, debt to get paid towards her, to claim that debt, but she will also, if she does also find out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown, she will also be like have two things to hold against Penelope. But I have a feeling that Penelope is smarter than Cressida and will find a way to not only shut her down, but also ensure that Cressida does not say anything bad about the Bridgerton family.
Yeah, it's really again, she's a really interesting character.
Yeah.
And apparently she from what I've heard online, she tries to pose as Lady Whistledown to take credit for Lady
She
Whistledown.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does, and it's, like, one of the things where you're just like, "How dare you?" Like, you think and it's, like it is also one of the best scenes too in the book where she claims to be Cressida Cow I mean, she claims to be Lady Whistledown, and Lady Danbury's like, "I don't think you are." And Penelope is standing right beside Lady Danbury, and Lady Danbury looks at Penelope and goes, "What do you think?" And Penelope's like, "I don't know," because she's never really stood up to Cressida before. And so this is her chance to finally stand up to Cressida, and she goes, "I would be really sad if she happens to be Lady Whistledown because Lady Whistledown is wittier than her." And it is just like such a yeah moment. Like, you go, girl.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see someone else get involved in the Lady Whistledown saga who isn't
Mhm.
trying to unmask this mysterious writer.
Trying
She's
to take
trying to
over.
use this to her advantage in some way, which I love. However, Eloise, who has unmasked Lady Whistledown at the
Mhm.
start of season 3, is not friends with Penelope anymore. And
Right.
how do you think how do you think their friendship is going to change? And will they be friends again?
They definitely are going to be friends again because they have to be. So my whole thing of how they could possibly rekindle their friendship is if they do go down the line that Cressida Cowper does blackmail Penelope Featherington, is Eloise finds out about this blackmailing from Penelope because in the books, Colin also finds out. Colin eventually finds out. He then also finds out that Penelope is being blackmailed, and it's a whole situation between the two of them. So Eloise, I feel like in the show, she dislikes Cressida as much as Penelope does. And so I feel as if Eloise could easily go to Penelope and be like, listen, if you let her take Lady Whistledown, something that everybody loves and admires, something that I pretty much loved and admire, if you let her take Lady Whistledown, I'm going to be more mad at you. So you better stand up. And so I feel as if that could bring them together because Eloise is going to be like, I will help you. I'm not going to be happy doing it, but I will help you take Cressida down because if you let her take your hard work and take credit for it, I'm going to be even more mad at you. And so I think, the enemy of my enemy is, my friend. And so like two people that became, adversaries because of a situation will be friends again.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see them reunite
Same.
and listen to each other. As you mentioned, Eloise wasn't listening to Penelope, and so this
Yeah.
friendship dynamic, it will shift into one where they understand each other, which is going to be
Yes.
really good.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been an absolute treat meeting you.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
Now, the season 3 trailer is available right now, so make sure you go and watch that. And if you want to find out about Ainsley's interpretations of the trailer, where can we find your socials?
You can find me on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube at Aynsley_Broom. I am also on X and Threads, but not as much as I am on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, it's again is the place to go, so make sure you head over there right now.